Some pilots simply disappear from the skies, and no one really knows why. The truth behind their departure isn't about fear of flying or lack of skill. On the contrary, these professionals face such intense pressure that few can handle it. You're about to uncover curiosities and historical facts that reveal a hidden side of aviation, full of mysteries that never make the headlines. The exhausting routine, strict rules, unexpected conflicts, and constant stress turn this career into an almost superhuman challenge. Is all this wear and tear really worth it? Get ready to understand why many pilots, even those who love flying, choose never to return, and what this says about the reality behind the glamour of airplanes. Pilots have to follow some very strict rules, even the kind that most people would never expect. For example, they can't have beards. That's not about looking neat. It's about survival. If something goes wrong mid-flight and they need oxygen masks, a beard can prevent the mask from sealing properly, making it useless. That tiny detail can make a huge difference. And here's another interesting fact. Pilots are not allowed to eat the same food during a flight. It's one of those safety curiosities that exists to protect passengers. If one meal causes food poisoning, at least one pilot stays healthy to fly the plane. It might sound extreme, but in aviation, every little thing matters. Now think about this. While most people go to work, grab a coffee, and start their day slowly, pilots show up ready for battle. Their schedules are strict. Their uniforms must be spotless. They go through endless checklists before even stepping into the cockpit. One small mistake in that process could lead to a serious accident. It's a curious part of the job that many never see. People imagine pilots with cool sunglasses and relaxed vibes, but the truth is much more intense. They carry the responsibility of hundreds of lives, and they're trained to stay calm no matter what, even under extreme stress. This pressure is part of their daily life, and the margin for error is almost zero. There's also a mystery behind how they manage it all. Long hours, jet lag, unpredictable situations, and yet they're expected to stay focused every second. It's not just about flying. It's about managing risks, people, and problems all at once. Behind every smooth landing is a pilot who made dozens of tough decisions you'll never hear about. These are the hidden parts of the job, and they show why many pilots view aviation not just as work, but as a lifestyle. Still, even with all that pressure, they're not always flying the plane. That might sound like another curiosity, but it's true. Most of the time, it's the autopilot that's in charge. But that only adds another layer of responsibility. And that's where things start getting even more intense. A lot of people think that once the plane takes off, the pilot just sits back and relaxes. But that's far from the truth. The autopilot really does handle most of the flight, about 90% of the time. Still, that doesn't mean the pilot can take it easy. Actually, it's the opposite. They have to watch everything every second. If something goes wrong, they need to take control right away. The responsibility is huge. And here's a curious thing. Even with so much technology, the pressure on pilots just keeps getting heavier. Machines are great, but they can't think like humans. Let's say the weather changes suddenly, there's strong turbulence, or the system shows a warning. In those moments, the autopilot might freeze, but the pilot can't. They need to stay calm, think fast, and make the right move. Imagine having 200 people behind you, and everything depends on your decision in under 10 seconds. That's not just stress. It's something few people really understand. It's one of those interesting facts about aviation that many never hear about, but it's a regular part of the job. There's another curiosity that most people don't realize. Pilots say the hardest part isn't flying. It's staying sharp during the quiet parts. Sitting for hours listening to alerts, watching screens, checking every little detail. It drains your brain. It's a different kind of exhaustion, more mental than physical. And here's the tricky part. Even a small distraction or a short nap at the wrong time can cause serious problems. That's why breaks are carefully timed, and rest periods are part of the rules. Still, the body feels the weight. Over time, this kind of routine starts to wear people down. Some pilots even begin to ask themselves if it's worth continuing. And just when you think they've got enough to handle with the plane in the sky, there's one more unpredictable piece of the puzzle. The people on board. Flying might feel smooth when you're sitting in your seat, looking out at the sky. But behind that peaceful view, there are invisible dangers that pilots deal with almost every day. A sudden gust of wind can shake the plane just as it's about to land. An unexpected alarm might signal an electrical issue. And when fuel starts getting close to the limit, the weather shifts and the nearest airport is full. Things can go from normal to critical in seconds. These are the kinds of mysteries hidden behind every flight. And the curious part, everything still looks calm to those on board, as if nothing's wrong. Most passengers don't even realize when something serious happens. But sometimes, the pilot has to change the entire flight plan while already in the air. An emergency landing, for example, might be caused by smoke in the cabin, a sudden health issue with a passenger, or a technical fault in one of the systems. Even during these moments of pressure, the pilot has to stay calm, talk to the control tower, manage new routes, and also keep the cabin crew and passengers under control. That's a level of multitasking that's easy to underestimate. It's an interesting fact that shows just how much skill and focus are required in this profession. There are many curiosities that people don't hear about. One of them is the mental toll all of this takes on a pilot. Even if a flight goes smoothly, the pilot is trained to expect the worst at any moment. Living in that state of constant alert is exhausting. It's not just physical, it drains your mind. After a particularly stressful flight, some pilots need time off or even psychological help. And here's the thing. The heroic part makes the news. The perfect landing, the avoided disaster. But the human side often stays hidden. The fear, the pressure, the isolation. These parts rarely get talked about. Still, after handling all those invisible battles in the air, pilots face something even less predictable once they land. People. Angry passengers. Drunk passengers. People who don't follow rules. And that's where the job shifts from flying a machine to managing human behavior. And not every situation ends well. Not every problem during a flight comes from the plane itself. Sometimes the real challenge is inside the cabin, and it comes from the passengers. Pilots and flight attendants often deal with tough situations. Drunk passengers, people refusing to follow safety rules, or even aggressive behavior. Here's a curious detail. If someone refuses to turn off their phone or won't put their seat upright, the entire flight can be delayed. And in some cases, that person might even be removed from the plane. It might seem like a small thing, but inside an aircraft, everything runs like a machine. And when one part fails, it affects the whole system. And in the end, the pilot has the final say on how to handle the situation. There's a mystery in all this. Why do some people completely lose control while flying? The answer might be fear, stress, lack of sleep, or just the feeling of being trapped thousands of feet in the air. No matter the reason, the tension that builds up in these moments can affect everyone on board. The crew has to act with authority, but also with care. One wrong move can lead to a viral video, a formal complaint, or even worse, serious consequences for the pilot. It's an interesting fact that pilots can be suspended, investigated, or even fired depending on how they handle incidents in the cabin. That's one of those hidden curiosities that show how much is at stake, even beyond the cockpit. What's even more surprising is that many pilots say dealing with passengers is more stressful than handling technical problems. Machines follow logic. People don't. A system has buttons and manuals. Human being has emotions and unpredictability. Rules don't always solve everything. Sometimes you need empathy, quick thinking, and calm under pressure. And when situations like this happen again and again, the emotional weight starts to build. That glamorous image of being a pilot slowly fades. What's left is a person who's tired, mentally drained, and wondering if the job is still worth it. This isn't just about flying planes, it's about dealing with everything that comes with a role. And when the stress reaches a certain point, some pilots choose to step away from it all. The reasons why they leave are deeper than most people imagine. Many people think being a pilot is all about glamour, traveling the world, and exciting stories. The truth, however, is quite different. Behind that image lies a side full of stress and where that few talk about. Pilots face long hours, changing schedules, and short breaks in cramped spaces. It's like their bodies have to adjust to a rhythm that doesn't exist outside the plane. This is a curious fact because from the outside, most people have no idea how exhausting this routine can be. Physical tiredness mixes with mental strain, creating a constant pressure that builds up little by little until many just can't take it anymore. Another little-known detail is the stress hidden behind delays and unexpected events. It may seem like a flight is late just because of weather or airport traffic, but often that's just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, a pilot is trying to solve a problem, replan routes, or prepare for sudden situations no one sees. The tension this causes is huge, and it's not something that a simple coffee or a quick break can fix. This constant pressure creates a cycle that wears down body and mind, leading some professionals to make the tough decision to leave the career, even when they love flying. And the most mysterious part of all, behind this stressful routine, few talk about the psychological impact of the profession. The loneliness during downtime, being far from family, and the constant fear of mistakes, even small ones, can create a deep feeling of isolation. Many pilots go through silent crises, battling anxiety, depression, and exhaustion. These human curiosities reveal that behind the fame and admiration, there is a dark side as heavy as flying through dangerous storms. It's this combination of factors that makes some decide they never want to fly again. Now that you've uncovered these mysteries and curiosities that few know about pilots' lives, what surprised you the most? Does the constant pressure and strict rules justify the price many pay? Or is there a different way to face this profession without losing passion? Leave your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think about this hidden side of aviation. Speaking of which, have you ever wondered what really happens when autopilot fails? Or how pilots handle difficult passengers mid-flight? These are just a few of the interesting facts we'll be exploring here. If you want to keep discovering the secrets, mysteries, and historical facts aviation hides, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Because here, the sky isn't the limit. It's just the beginning.